The two miners reported missing at the Dugald River mine site in northwest Queensland have been confirmed dead. Trevor Davis and Dylan Langridge travelled in a light vehicle when they became trapped 125 metres underground after the ground gave way on Wednesday morning. A search and rescue effort was launched at the mine following the incident. The mother of Dylan Langridge's children says she's a mess and that her family is devastated. A wife of a fellow Dugald River miner relayed the reaction of the mining community, saying, "Our hearts broke yesterday, they are family." The mining contractor parent company, Perenti's CEO, said in a statement, "This is a devastating outcome. Our immediate and ongoing focus is on providing support to families and friends." And let's go to Brisbane now, because joining us live is the Queensland Opposition Leader, David Crisafulli. David, thanks for your time this morning. We will start there. Just your reaction. It's dreadful news and a reminder too, isn't it, of the dangers our miners face every day.
It is, Peter. It leaves a sick feeling in your stomach to know what that has done to that community and the broader state. And there's one thing that's for certain, and that is when people go to work in these industries, they deserve the right to come home. And these guys won't. And that really is a blow for the entire state, for that community, for the mine. It is a really, really difficult day.
Now, I got you on, David, to talk about youth crime. And it's scaring a lot of people, it must be said. There's no quick fix to this, I'm sure, but what is your answer to Queensland's increasing youth crime crisis?
There is no quick fix, Peter, but the legislation was watered down 8 years ago, and on the back of it we've got a generation of repeat hardcore young offenders who know that their rights are greater than the rights of the victim. So we've got two issues. We've got an issue in the long term and an issue in the here and now. Now, my solution for the long term is we've got to get serious about early intervention and give education and employment and aspiration and get in early before a young person turns their life into a life of crime. But at the other end, we've got a crisis right now, a crisis where young kids who once were breaking in and would bolt, they're now holding a knife when they break into a house. They're now posting their face on social media, counting money on the dash of a stolen car, hanging out of a sunroof, taunting police, "Come and get me, we know you can't do anything." Well, that is a crisis, and it's happened because of legislation that was watered down. And we are pleading with the government to show their proposed changes ahead of Parliament next week so that we can all work together. Victims, Queenslanders, youth justice support groups, everyone, the judiciary, we can all work on this together. But the government has persistently viewed this as a political issue rather than a law and issue. And if you want proof of that, there was a forum in Toowoomba and the Premier didn't even front up and eyeball those Queenslanders to admit that she needs to do better.
Okay, so that draft legislation you referred to there, again, it's up next Tuesday. So already we've seen that the Youth Justice Act, it's going to be amended. It's going to take into account previous bail history, criminal history and track record. Is that enough to support?
Peter, my style has always been, I'll never say no to something just because it comes from someone else. And we've been down this path before, and the last time the Premier had a X-point plan after the death of a Queenslander, we said we wouldn't stand in the way of it. We put our suggestions forward about why some of these changes wouldn't work and how we'd strengthen them. We just asked for one thing at that time. We said make breach of bail an offence so that young people can be held accountable before they commit the crime, the next crime. Make breach of bail an offence so police can intercept. And the government wouldn't even debate that. Now, my style will be the same this time around. There are things that we look at and we say, we believe there are ways we could strengthen it. We just want the government to be as mature as we are and admit that the changes that were made in 2015 have created a broken generation. And if they don't put in place breach of bail as an offence, if they don't embed consequences for action in the Youth Justice Act, if they don't put the rights of the victim ahead of the rights of the perpetrator, you know that this is all a political stalling tactic rather than dealing with a crisis that is burning through this state right now.
What about suggestions that ankle bracelets or things of that nature need to be broadened? Would you support that?
Well, we were here 2 years ago, Peter, when two Queenslanders and their unborn child lost their life, And the government said the centrepiece of that change would be GPS bracelets for young repeat offenders. We looked at the legislation and said, but this isn't going to work, because one of the reasons that a young offender can choose not to have one fitted is because they don't want to. That's right. The legislation allows a young person to not wear a tracker if they choose not to. Well, it's not a fashion accessory. It's a condition of their bail. Fast forward nearly 2 years, we've had less than 10 kids fitted with one. Now, the government is refusing to listen. They are refusing to listen to everyone on this spectrum from the left to the right. They just have bunkered down. They haven't shown the changes. They haven't recalled Parliament. And in the last 6 weeks, 4 Queenslanders have lost their lives. This is serious. Every day I'm hearing from hundreds of people who have lost their vehicle and they can't go and earn a living, who have had their home broken into and their insurance premiums have gone sky high. This is burning through the state, and the government has just completely put up shutters and won't listen to Queenslanders.
My sister-in-law, one of those people, had a car stolen, a house broken into, inner city Brisbane, just a couple of days ago. It's definitely on the up. David, we'll get you on again next week as that legislation is made public. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for your time.